Do you guys have issues with your grass dying from the summer heat along your driveway? Stay tuned and we'll talk about why and how to fix that in this video. Does the grass along your driveway look like this, burning in the summertime? Why do weeds grow only on the sides of the driveway? Like this. Does this look like your driveway? Welcome back, everybody. This is Mike with Jealous Lawn Care, and thank you for joining me for once again another lawn care video. Today we're going to talk about a very specific problem that I have and maybe you're having also. So it seems very rampant in this neighborhood. So these homes are about 20 years old, and all of them that have blacktop especially seem to have a problem with the grass burning along the sides of the driveway. So in the spring and the fall and in the winter, the grass is no problem. But in the summertime, the grass just along the sides of the driveway seem to be problematic, and they burn every summer. And here's what I've done in the past. And now I'm at a fully extreme. I finally did some extra research, and here's what the problem is. So what I've done, and let me show you a different angle here. So does this look familiar to everybody? All this, see all these weeds? I know what you guys are thinking. When you see these weeds, you're like, oh, unsubscribe. Please don't, okay? Everybody's got problems, and this year I'm tackling this. This is my project for this year. You guys haven't seen any videos this year from me. I know there's only one in the spring. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I'll get into that later. All right, don't want to get off to a tangent too early. So the grass every year for me, and maybe you too, seems to burn every single year, about 2 to 3 feet along the sides of my blacktop driveway. So you can see it here, and then it ends up curving and doing the same thing over there. And you'll notice over here, this little strip all the way up my driveway. And the other side, similar but not as bad. So I've sodded in the past, and I've also used seed. Then other years I've used even a better seed, one that's better for drought. I've used Black Beauty, Kentucky Bluegrass, I've used Scott's, I've used this, I've used that. Every year, doesn't really matter what I do, because that summer heat, I stop watering and boom, it dies. So I figured if I've tried solutions A, B, and C, or 1, 2, and 3 like my fingers are showing, just like a mechanic would do. If you say, hey, my brakes are squeaking, they're going to start with the cheapest solution, then work their way up, then work their way up, and work their way up again. So that's what we're going to do, and that's what I have been doing. So here's what I did. So as I talked about in prior years, I've seeded. Then, of course, it worked great while I'm watering, but then summertime came, stop watering, and bam, just dies away unless I continue to water, which, as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of heavy watering or even needing to water on a regular basis. I have Kentucky Bluegrass most of the way through in Chicagoland, and I let the grass go dormant in the summertime so we can avoid some crazy, crazy water bills here. So here is what I did. So here is the right side of my driveway. And if you were watching from my spring video, you can see I removed this patio paver, which was looking really terrible over the past 20 years. And I sodded it. So you can still see it's a little different color. It's been, I don't know, about 3 months. So looks pretty good. Did a good leveling job. It's one of my problems is my leveling jobs. But you guys are familiar with the screwdriver test. So stick this in. You can see it went all the way down to the bottom. So this is a 6-inch screwdriver, and that is what I need for this test. I want about 6 inches of soil before I put my sod or seed or whatever I want to do down there. Now, my problem is, once I get, let's say, closer over to here, look at this. This is all the way down. This is as far as I can go. So there is quite a bit of leftovers until I hit rock already. And then I'll do the same thing anywhere I see a problem. Then let me move to my other side. And hey, look at this. See this problem area here? I've seeded this every year for the past several years. And again, I tried the cheapest solutions. Now I'm going to the next level. So let's figure out from a soil depth test. Wow, look at that. And here, I'll do it again for you. Here's the end of the screwdriver. And that's as far as I can go right there. So wow, look at how much I'm missing. I mean, I would say I maybe have 2 inches of dirt. So that is definitely a problem here. And then I have all rock. So that's all I got. So because of this lack of soil underneath, that is the problem why the grass is dying in the summertime. I don't have grass dying anywhere else around here. And just for the sake of the video, yes, there are no stripes. Please don't rant and rave about that too much. So here I can pick a random spot in my yard. I'll pick, we'll say right here, do another test. Bam, all the way down. That's the way it should be. So I'm kind of surprised that the screwdriver went down that far and that easily, especially since it's been about 2 weeks of no water. That's usually the time that I like to do a quick watering, or I should say a deep watering, just to make sure that nothing dies out. You know, it can only go dormant for so long. Then it's time to do a little watering. But the rest of the grass, no problems. The only problems is right along the driveway. So reason is, see, this is very misleading. Sure, this is my driveway and it looks like it goes straight up and down, but when they fill it, it's all loose rock under here. And think about it, if they're gonna put rocks, I don't know how many inches, that's outside of my field, but let's just say, I don't know, 3 inches of rock. You know, it's not just gonna be straight up and down, it's gonna be all loose on the sides here, and that's exactly what we have here, and in this whole subdivision. So what's going on here is the fact that these rocks here are pitched down, so it's actually pitched at an angle. It's not just dirt right here. You would expect this to be, okay, here's where the driveway ends, and then bam, it's soil, 6 inches of soil all the way through. But it's not the case. It's, from my measurements that I did, it's pitched all the way to about there. We're talking about 2 feet, maybe even 3 in some spots. So what I'm gonna do is have a contractor or a landscaper rip out 4 feet. This is basically 2 rolls of sod, just for simplicity. So I'm going to get a full 6 inches of soil, and then I'm also going to have them do the sod while they're at it. This will rip out all of the bad rocks and rocky subterranean that I have under here and help me fix this issue from years to come. So you can see a little test area that I did right here was I dug open, so you can see right here the screwdriver is, you know, fairly down. We've already dug out as much rock as we could. Just me and my son, we dug this out. But you can see that the rocky terrain is even right here. I mean, here's the top. Here's the rocky terrain already right here. So we dug out, I don't know, maybe 3-4 inches of this, but it was extremely difficult. So this is called me testing it, figuring out what it is, and not wanting to do it myself because I have no way to dispose of all this rocky terrain. So therefore, what I'm gonna do is hire a landscaper. So here's basically what I'm gonna do to fix this issue, guaranteed for the future. And maybe if you're in the same boat as me and you have your grass dying on the sides of your driveway, this could very well be your problem. I would say 95% sure that this will fix it. So basically what I'm going to have done is dig down 6 inches, put in 6 inches of fresh topsoil. Doesn't have to be anything great, just cheap old topsoil will do. A lot better than the 3 inches of dirt and the 3 inches of rocks that I currently have. That's why it's dying. And then after I get 6 inches of the fresh stuff in there, then I want 4 feet wide, because with my screwdriver tests I can see how deep the rocks will go. So roughly it's about 2 feet where it ends, maybe 3 feet, but I'm just going to go safe and just go even rolls of sod so I can go 4 feet. That's the plan here, and that will cover all my problems. And you can see when the grass dies, every year I rake it up, put in, new soil. Obviously I don't dig 6 inches down, otherwise I would have known about this before. I do dig like 3 inches usually, and then put in new seed or sod. And then the grass dies, and then you're left with these weeds, and these weeds just take over and spread and spread and spread, but they're not going to spread into my good grass because they have too much competition. So that's another reason why the weeds grow along the sides of the driveway, because there's no grass to compete with. Now the interesting thing, I hired a landscaper, I got a quote from a landscaper. And this is where I recommend you got to find a good landscaper. There are lots of good landscapers out there, lawn care service businesses, but there's also some bad ones, unfortunately. So I called one that has the best reviews in my area. They wanted $2,400 to do all this, and that was higher than I expected. I was thinking somewhere around like $1,500 would be about the magic number for this work. I did some math, did the calculations, drew up my own little figures, and it looks like I need about 270 square feet and then 6 inches deep. So I don't know about cubic feet and all that. That's a whole separate, the higher level of math than we want to do here. So for that work, they wanted $2,400. So then I called another place. Actually, better yet, I called these guys right there. I always like to use local guys, even though that one was only one town away that I called. These local guys, the ones that are down the street already here, even though they're not going to do it the same day, they're going to, they can do it in a couple days, which I have no need to rush this job or anything. So I called these guys right down the street, 2 doors down. They're doing a fence, and I asked them, hey, do you guys handle this also? And they said they could, and their quote for the same job was $1,000. Wow. Talk about a price difference. $2,400 versus $1,000 for the same job. And the other company was 5 weeks out. Said, oh, we could do it in 5 weeks, but that would push us in October, mid-October. And I don't want to be laying down sod in October, mid-October with Chicago. We can have, snow coming soon. And he's like, oh yeah, it's okay. We do sod even in middle of December. I was like, I personally don't understand that. Maybe you guys know better than I do, but he was very adamant that they have been doing this for 20, 30 years, and that they lay sod in October, November, and halfway through December in Chicago when it's freezing temperatures. I said, how does the roots adhere and how does it not die? He said, oh, because the sod that we lay in, they lay it in, the sod is already dormant. Then they put it on. It doesn't attach itself because everything's dormant, because the new sod is dormant and the grass around it is dormant. Therefore, of course, the roots aren't alive. They're not ready to adhere to the new soil. So they adhere, which blows my mind. I'd like to do a test on this just to prove this guy wrong, but it doesn't make sense to me that the sod won't die over the winter because it's already dormant, and that the sod will adhere come spring. Spring it'll adhere and blend in already. Have you guys ever heard of this? Doing it in the winter time? Let me know in the comments below if you guys have sodded in the winter when it's freezing temperatures. So if the rest of your grass in your yard looks great, but your only problem area is around your blacktop driveway, possibly even your concrete driveway, depending on how they did it. So I know when they do concrete driveways, just like they do concrete sidewalks and pathways, they use, I want to call them like a retaining wall to keep the concrete in. When they do blacktop, especially initial blacktop, they don't do that, to my knowledge, or at least it wasn't done here. I've clearly proven that, just based on the screwdriver test and my digging test, that it's pitched. It doesn't go straight up and down. There was no retaining wall done, which would have solved my problem and my entire subdivision's problem with the blacktop driveways. And you can see, I don't know if you can tell, see what my neighbor does in the background. If you can tell, what they did was on the side of the driveway, they put concrete. They added concrete because concrete doesn't heat up as bad as blacktop. And instead of digging this out and resodding and going 6 inches down, sure, I could do a layer of mulch. A lot of people in this neighborhood, they do blacktop driveways and then they do like 3 feet of mulch. But too much mulch just gets messy, and it's also maintenance over the years. I know that's going to end up all through my grass unless you really want to do some different kind of landscaping, put bushes in there, which I don't want to do. I like the nice clean look myself, so of course we can argue that all day as far as what we like. That's a looks thing, personal preference. So hope you guys like this video. Sorry I haven't posted any videos this summer. I know I posted a video in the spring, and now here comes fall and here's another video, so maybe only 2 this year. Here's the long short story of it. So basically, I wasn't able to do any of my test videos like I usually do, grass seeding tests or other kind of tests. And you know my videos, if you're watching and you've watched me for a while, that my videos are week after week after week. You know, these are like sometimes 2 months long videos. And therefore, because of the fact that I went on a cruise, and then after the cruise we got stuck on a vacation because we had to quarantine because we had COVID in the family. They wouldn't let us fly, and therefore we lost another week, so we lost like 3 weeks. And therefore I couldn't do a test and have, you know, I couldn't trust a neighbor or someone else to come and do my tests and make sure that everything had its, you know, did my due diligence. I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to put a test out there for you guys, that I'm there the whole time and monitoring it, making sure everything is done up to par like I say it is. All right, so that's why you haven't seen videos from me this summer, guys, so sorry about that. It's been a little chaotic, and also at the same time we're redoing our kitchen, so that's been a mess. We're doing our own, putting up new cabinets. We refinished all the floors, and then I'm also working on doing the steps. Just ripped them out, did hardwood instead of the carpet. So it's been a busy year for me, so that's what's on my plate. So sorry about that, guys, but stay tuned because there are going to be more grass videos and tests coming in the future. But I wanted to get this out there because I'm about to do this work this week, so this is going to be done. So the next time you see it, you will not see any more brown in my driveway, or along my driveway, I should say. So let me guys know what you think in the comments below. If you guys have also had this problem and have tried multiple things, I'd love to hear about your ideas also.